If you're suffering from FOMO and having missed out on Fabcon 2025 held in Las Vegas with over 6,500 attendees, and perhaps you've caught some of the keynote announcements but wanted an overview of them all, then you're in the right place. In this video, I wanted to set the scene with what I think the key themes of the announcements are, and will briefly introduce what I think the top 10 features were that were announced. In the rest of these series, I've recorded and edited video snippets from the actual keynote at the T-Mobile Arena, which I will top and tail with my own take on these features. So I think there are three key themes coming out of the Fabcon announcements. The first is democratization of Copilot. By this, I mean that Power BI and Fabric Copilot is now far more accessible and far more affordable to a broader audience than it has been since its release. One of the main challenges around user adoption of Power BI Copilot is that it has historically only been available on an F64 or above SKU, with an F64 starting at $5,000 a month. That's not really affordable for small or even some mid-sized companies. Now you can have Fabric Copilot, which includes the Power BI developer and consumption experience on any size SKU. The smallest SKU, an F2, costs just over $150 a month on reserve pricing. Or you could use pay-as-you-go pricing and bring down the cost by only running it during office hours, for example. The other aspect of Copilot democratization is about discoverability. With Power BI Copilot on Home, a user can search across the entire tenant, all reports and semantic models that they have access to with a given prompt. No longer do they need to know exactly which report to look in for the answers. This Power BI Copilot experience can even leverage data agents, formerly known as AI skills. These are artifacts in Fabric where a semantic model, combined with a lakehouse or KQL database where appropriate, could be enriched with detailed instructions on how the data should be used to answer prompts from users. In Power BI Desktop, you will soon be able to also add verified answers to align particular prompt topics or examples to a specific visual. The second major theme of the conference announcements was around automation. This included announcements such as user-defined data functions, variables, and Fabric command line interface, CLI. For me, this is about more than just productivity gains for developers. This is about being able to create and manage items in Fabric in a standardized manner. The example shown in the keynote was a standardized way of taking customer data and segmenting it according to the categories of logic used by your company. This is going to make Fabric implementations much easier and much more manageable. And again, maybe perhaps for those clients who don't have large IT support functions to deal with issues. And the third theme for me was simplification. Of course, this is the whole premise of Fabric. Bring all of your data across the organization into a single place where it can be governed, enriched, and secured. But one thing I think Microsoft has been incredible with is with its ambition and implementation of taking complex data platform concepts and abstracting them to the point where something that has traditionally been very hard to do in the world of platform as a service becomes much simpler with software as a service with Fabric. There are three key examples of this which stand out for me. The first is simplification of security. Something that can be set easily in the UI by non-technical users for Power BI has been a massive step in the right direction and a key reason for people to move from Excel to Power BI. But the challenge was always keeping those permissions consistent across the various data components, the lakehouse, the warehouse, KQL, semantic models, Excel. All of these use a different permission model, and keeping them in harmony is a real challenge. And it always has been a challenge, even in the platform as a service world, and up until now has been a big challenge with Fabric too. What the updates to One Security allow you to do is to set row and column level security rules at the lakehouse level, and then have that enforced throughout all of the engines, internal and external, where that data is used. The second aspect of simplification is around keeping your data in sync between your enterprise systems and Fabric. This has traditionally been a huge challenge with batch workloads, where there are scheduled refreshes of your data in Fabric. It is one of the reasons customers I've worked with have insisted on using direct query in Power BI, but then they suffer the inevitable performance hit. What if there was a way for your Fabric Lakehouse to automatically reflect any changes that are made to your source system? Insertions, deletions, updates to rows, in seconds. That's exactly what Fabric Mirroring is. And an important announcement was that it is now supported with Oracle and also as your SQL database behind a private endpoint. And the third aspect of simplification is around governance. In particular, applying sensitivity labels to items in Fabric, which apply across the entire Microsoft suite, from source systems all the way through to consumption in tools such as Power BI, Excel, PowerPoint and Outlook. These labels can indicate not just whether data is confidential or not, but can be far more granular, to have labels where only for a specific set of users can see it, for example. This would be applied through data protection policies, which flow all the way through from Purview and are enforced in Fabric, overriding any workspace or item level security roles applied in that environment. Purview and Fabric were historically very separate products, and the integration between them was clumsy at best. With more of this information coming into the One Lake Data Hub in Fabric, that integration becomes seamless, to the point where it's all just one product and one UI. Everything has started to be able to be managed directly within Fabric. So those are the three key themes: democratization of Copilot, automation, and simplicity. And here are the 10 features that were announced that I will cover in detail in a separate video for each. The first is One Lake Security, which I mentioned briefly before. Next is Workspace Variables and Fabric Command Line Interface, CLI. Third is user-defined data functions. Fourth, materialized views in notebooks. Fifth, Oracle mirroring. Sixth, Delta Iceberg interoperability. 7, direct lake mode creation in Power BI Desktop. 8, grounding and discovery for Power BI Copilot. 9, data agent, formerly known as AI skill enhancements. And 10, One Lake Data Hub enhancements. The final thing to highlight is just how much traction Fabric has had since its launch. Microsoft Fabric is now the fastest growing analytics platform in Microsoft's history, with over 19,000 customers, over 375,000 for Power BI, if you just take that, and includes the majority of the Fortune 500. Microsoft are also the only vendor leading in all of the Magic Quadrants covered by the capabilities in Fabric. The conference, as I said, was attended by over 6,500 people across a range of industries and roles, and the level of enthusiasm for the platform was just incredible to witness. Enjoy the rest of the videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I look forward to continuing the conversation online.